So hi everyone, my name is Hamad and I'll be talking about my vision for the peer advising program that the Office of the Students of Financial Services is inaugurating, and also be talking about how I would use that program to sort of help first year students, find adequate financial support. So let's get into it. We're going to look at someone named Hamad, and I know uh, well, Hamad is basically me, because who better to relate to than yourself, right? And so Hamad needs financial support because since it's his first day at York, he has a lot of academic and social personal concerns, but doesn't really know how to handle his financial concerns. So he books an appointment at the Bennett Center. I know this is the greatest drawing of the Bennett Center. It's right there, but he's going to be talking to an expert or an advisor there on three very important things that him and every student deal with as a student. So those three things are OSAP, scholarships and bursaries, and we have some dollar signs, and there's going to be a budget. So now these three things are what's on Hamad's mind, and what I believe the peer advising program can do is incorporate all of these three things into an online mentoring platform. Now, with online mentoring, I envision that students like Hamad, who have difficulty getting onto campus because of other commitments, it'll provide a platform for him and other students to get the information that they need. Because the problem is not having information, is getting that information to students, and a peer-to-peer interaction with online mentoring is just the thing that Hamad needs to really figure out how he's going to apply to OSAP, how he's going to look for bursaries, and how he's going to figure out a weekly budget for his day-to-day campus life. And so if you take online mentoring and have, let's say, an advisor here, so Hamad is sitting down, he is face-to-face with, or face-to-face right now with an advisor. Keep in mind that this online mentoring platform can also be in person if need be, but mainly it'll be given online. So we'll give this advisor, let's say, a hat, a cute little hat that says, "Hey, I'm an advisor, I'm here to help, what's your problem?" And so as Hamad is sitting down talking to the advisor, he's talking about his financial situation, what he can do to get help. And what you want to talk about is not necessarily the numbers, because that's not as important as the priorities. So the biggest priority is definitely OSAP. Are you getting your tuition paid? And so that's something that definitely needs to be the first thing to be talked about when it comes to Hamad and any other students looking to manage their financial situation. Now, between scholarships and bursaries and having a weekly budget, which one do you think is more important? Yeah, I know, it's definitely the budget. Now, despite what people may say about scholarships and bursaries being a lot of money and getting you just the money you need to keep your finances afloat, you wouldn't need to keep them afloat if you had a secure and proper budget to begin with. And so that's another thing that the advisor or I would talk to Hamad about when considering their finances. Well, how much money are you spending at York? How much do you plan to spend? Things like income fall under the budget, and they also fall under OSAP, which is another beast in itself. And so that means that scholarships and bursaries is the third thing that's being talked about. And so now we are sitting with our advisor and we have these things out on the table. And so once we've identified these needs, we talk about them and provide various resources. So for example, the OSAP, how to apply to OSAP. There's a very helpful YouTube video made by the OSAP YouTube channel itself, which tells you exactly how to apply to OSAP. Now, for budget, we can point out to some interesting resources on the Yorkie website, or use our own experience with budget making to really sit down and figure out how we can allocate the funds that we get. And I have personal experience making my own budget because I've had to manage my own finances and figure out how much money is going where and how much am I earning through my positions at work study. And so because of this, I have a lot of experience managing a budget, a weekly budget or a monthly budget. And so I use my experience to help Hamad figure out how he can make his own weekly budget. And now with scholarships and bursaries, I have a lot of experience applying scholarships. I've applied to several in the colleges, in the York faculty, and within York in general. And I've won several of them too, such as the Robert Tiffin Student Leadership Award and the Olga Sarak Alumni Bursary. And so not only have I won these scholarships, I know how to apply to them and just know the nature of when to apply, when you'll hear back for them, what is the process. I can tell Hamad what are these processes like, so that he's better informed and he can match his merits and his, deservedness to certain scholarship or bursary criteria to that particular scholarship bursary. And this can be done in person, or what I prefer is through online mentoring, where it's more accessible, easier to reach Hamad, because he may not necessarily be on campus all the time, and it just makes everything a lot more convenient. And so now that I have provided Hamad this information, we have to make sure that Hamad uses it. And this is where the online mentoring comes in. This is not simply just a platform to advise and help students out. It's to create a community of students supporting students. And so what I mean by this is that now Hamad is going to go home because he's done school, and his advisor is going to add him to a Facebook group which has a bunch of other students looking for financial help. And we're going to also have volunteers within these groups that have experience with various financial aspects that incorporate these three things that we talked about. And because they have experience, they can create posts, they can answer questions people have about their finances, and basically just create a community that is well informed on finances, that can collaborate with each other as to how they can apply to certain bursaries, scholarships, and OSAP, and how they can manage their weekly budget. And there's some activities that I have in mind that the volunteers and the educators can incorporate to really get the community going. And the reason why I want this kind of community for Hamad and for anyone else is that research supports this idea that having a community that disseminates ideas and helps each other out is the best way to get information across, have information stick to your head, and really have someone stick to any sort of plan or regiment, which is what we're trying to do with this whole program. Making a plan, providing wisdom, and sticking to that plan and wisdom, and building a community of support through online mentoring, through Facebook, through Instagram, through Snapchat, just getting people together to be excited about dealing with their finances and really becoming smart and educated peers is something that will bolster this whole program and the community as we know it. So now that Hamad knows what to do, and he has an idea of how to budget, how to apply for OSAP and bursaries, he can join this community of peers and get started on those plans that he's made with his advisor. And now I know I'm talking about Hamad in a very metaphorical and third-party perspective, but my whole experience with applying with OSAP or a scholarship or budget is that it was very painful and just annoying, to say the least, to always have to go to resources or offices or front desks and always be delayed or not get the information I want, despite leaving several calls, emails, messages. And with this program, I want educators and volunteers that are not only knowledgeable but experienced in applying for various scholarships, because it is that experience that they can pass on to students that can really inform them on how to effectively and optimally apply for scholarships, so that they're not wasting time trying to claw out through the bureaucracy and that can be the York University system. And so me as an advisor helping Ahmad, I have that experience applying to scholarships, so I can show him the ropes. But if it's just, me pointing him to resources and other places that he can go to, then it's not as helpful, because those resources are also going to bog him down with information that he may or may not need. Having it aggregated to this platform can really help speed things up and make things very efficient for Hamad. And so that's just something that I'm kind of envisioning. And just a very personal aspect of mentoring is, having etiquette, having diplomacy and tact. I know we want to create a supportive community of peers talking about finances, but finances themselves are inherently a sensitive subject. And so when we're talking about this topic, we want to make sure that we aren't intrusive or judgmental or have prejudice in our guiding and mentoring, because that can really turn people off when it comes to talking about their finances. And not only does it disengage them, it disconnects them with the community, and it makes them less likely to deal with their finances in a appropriate manner. So that is why it's important to have tact and diplomacy when creating this community and when mentoring students about their finances. And so this is roughly what I have in mind for the program. And if I wanted to measure the effectiveness of this program, it would be by the strength of this community. And one metric I would use is to see activity, just general online activity. This could be in likes, Facebook shares, comments, posts, any of that sort. Views is also very important, like how many people have viewed this to certain posts. And having that sort of metric, views for example, can really help gauge the reach that a post has gotten, and to see if people are getting this information. And if more and more people are seeing this information, and more people are more likely to use it for their own benefit, and it's more likely to get responses and eventually build the community. So I want to thank everyone for listening to my presentation, and I hope they sort of understood my vision for what I mean when I say I want to sort of build a community of financial support at York University.